So in this masterclass, we are going to talk about Purpose Launchpad, which is a meta methodology focused on both generating and also evolving existing ideas into purpose-driven organizations in order to make a massive impact. But let's start actually from the very beginning. Everything started here. Everything started with a single point of energy. Everything was connected. Everything is still connected. And everything that we know nowadays comes from the Big Bang. And after the Big Bang, when this massive explosion happened, what we saw was the merge of different things, such as hydrogen and other elements, right? Eventually, we had these massive clouds of hydrogen that started to evolve, and eventually we got the stars. And in the core of the stars, we started to see other elements happening, and eventually we had the planets in the universe. And in these planets, we had different chemistry reactions that eventually, and we don't know how yet, we got life, right? But that was, again, the universe evolving through from the Big Bang to energy to different atomic structures, and eventually even to life and different forms of life, even intelligence. And we had here amazing type of living beings such as mammals, right? Eventually we saw in the universe emerging other type of animals such as monkeys, chimps, and eventually us, humans, right? And we started to do something very interesting, that was creating things that didn't exist before, right? Because we humans are the only living species that we know that is able to create technology. And why? Because we desire things that doesn't exist, and we want to make them right, and we want to make that happen, right? So we are empowered with this ability to create technology. And actually, since then, since the invention of the wheel and many other inventions, we have created houses, different vehicles in order to move faster, right? The printer, the computer, and it's actually very interesting to see that the computer is not even 100 years old, right? So it's something very, very new. And nowadays we have computers in our hands all the time. Even our kids are playing and using computers. And let me tell you, for them, computers and tables, those are actually not part of technology. For them, it's not technology. There is an amazing the definition of technology that says that technology is anything that didn't exist when you were born, right? So for our kids now, for our younger kids, computers are actually not technology, it's just something that exists. In the same way that wheels are not technology for us, but some time ago, it was technology for some people, right? We are connected, we all are connected. Actually, we are now living a massive pandemic all around the world, and we are able to be here connected and talking one to each other just because technology exists and because social network and internet, right? We are seeing many other inventions coming, again, from the universe, because this is part of what the universe is generating through us as well, right? Through humans. We have drones, we have 3D printers, and very soon we are going to be imprinting things at home. Actually, we are already doing it, right? Very soon we'll be printing our own organs, right? So we will be able to print a heart and so many other things. We are creating now nanotechnology, which is super small, and we are doing something amazing as humans, which is changing our own path of evolution in a conscious way. Because now with genetics and genetics engineer, we are able to understand our genes and now to write our genes. So we are dreamers. We humans are dreamers. We look at the stars, and this is something again that differentiates us from many other species, right? We are able to dream, to look at the stars, and to and to be basically desire some things that we don't have, right? But more than dreamers, we are actually doers, because we are, again, as I was saying before, the only species that, as far as we know, that is able to create technology in order to fill the gap between our dreams and the reality. And this is why we create technology. And we are explorers. We are explorers. We want to push the boundaries of the universe forward. So everything started with the Big Bang, yes, but we are in the front, in the edge of the universe, pushing everything forward and creating things that didn't exist before. This is the purpose. This is what we are, why we are here. All of us are here for a reason, right? All of us have a North Star, something that is there just for us to create it, because we all are here to create things that didn't exist before we were born. In my case, let me tell you a little bit about my own track record and experience, because it's part of why I was building Purpose Launchpad and why all this is happening. I'm basically a serial entrepreneur, and I was building companies since I was 19 years old. The first company that I built, it was Buscar Amigos, and it was a dating website. And I did that with 19 years old, so I was quite young. The good thing was that I wasn't investing any money because I didn't have money back then. I didn't even know how to code a website. I was learning through internet how to do it. And 2 years after launching this site, we started to receive pictures from people from other places. This picture was coming from Mexico, saying thank you so much because due to the platform that you have created, we met and we are now married, right? So I was changing the life of people with 19 years old, with 21 at that time, in Mexico in this case. And back then I haven't never been in Mexico before, right? And that was the power of technology. I understood that we are not only us, we are us plus the technology, because we can create a massive impact just because the access to technology. After that, I kept studying. I did my PhD on artificial intelligence, and I launched this other company, iActive, and we were focusing on creating AI-based systems. At the very beginning, we did fine because we were growing, but not too much. And eventually we wanted to create a more exponential business model, more replicable and scalable business model. So we raised money. I did an MBA actually in order to learn more things. And I did everything that I learned in the university, and I did everything that I learned at the MBA, right? But what happened was that when we launched the product, we failed. We lost 3 million euros that we raised out of investors. And we did everything right? But the problem was that we weren't we weren't doing things in the proper way, because in new contexts, in new environments, we need to learn how to do things in a better way. And what I learned was that when you have an innovative idea and you launch the idea because you built a business plan for that innovative idea, ideas always fail. As Steve Blank says, no business plan survives first contact with customers, right? With real customers. A business plan is actually not a plan to execute, it's actually a set of hypotheses that we have to evaluate. So I was lucky enough to meet Eric Ries, who was the mentee from Steve Blank in 2012. And at that time, I started to learn a lot about lean startup, customer development, and all these amazing innovation techniques that help us to basically fail less, right? So I started to learn about the build, measure, learn loop and how to do things properly. I learned that by doing that, you are not going to have a huge failure. You will be doing small mistakes and you will have small failures, but out of that, you will start learning, right? I also learned from Steve Blank directly that before building a product, you have to build a customer. You have to understand and to discover who is your customer, right? And there is an amazing process called the customer development process. I was lucky enough also in 2012 to attend a program on customer development with Steve Blank in Berkeley University, and I started to collaborate as well with him around these things. And at the end, everything, all these amazing innovation methodologies that I started to learn make sense to be applied to the different projects. So I applied to my project, and I was lucky enough to turn it again, and from failure we started to be quite successful, and we started to actually to launch different companies, and all of them were quite successful. So my lesson learned here that is not only about technology, it's also about methodology. You have to apply the right method. There is a lot of wisdom out there coming from people such as Steve Blank and many others. and all of us actually, right? And we have to do things in the right way, because in new context we have to basically de-learn and learn new things in different ways. So at some point, I actually created a new company called Lead Monitor. Lead Monitor was an online system, an online platform to help both entrepreneurs and also innovators and corporates to apply lean startup design thinking customer development in order to fail less. This company was acquired by Gas.com a few years ago. And after that, I started to do other things because I realized that something was missing. It wasn't only about, about the technology, about the methodology, something was missing. We were in front of the fourth industrial revolution. Actually, we are now in the earlier stage of the fourth industrial revolution. So I was lucky enough to attend Singularity University, and there I started to learn a lot about not only technology, but also about the implications of technology. And one of the most important implications of technology is democratization. Everything is arriving to everyone. This is why I was able to create a company with 19 years old without previous knowledge on entrepreneurship, without previous knowledge on internet, and I was able to code and to develop this platform to have people meeting and so on, right? So something very important that I learned in Singularity University was that the business models were changing. The way to do business, the way to think and to understand business models was completely different, because we all know about Kodak, right? Kodak was, the most known company in photography a few years ago. And also a few years ago, it was bankrupt at the same time that Instagram was bought by $1 billion. And what was happening here? Well, what was happening was that Kodak had what we call an scarcity-based business model, because they were selling something very scarce, right? They were selling rolls of pictures, and if you wanted to make more pictures, you had to buy more rolls. With Instagram, we had the opposite. We have an abundance-based business model, because the more pictures that you take, the more pictures that there is on the internet, the better for Instagram, right? So this is one of the most important points, that now current business models are focused on abundance, are not focused on scarcity anymore. And abundance is everywhere, and abundance is here because we have technology. So it's not about the technology itself, it's about the implications of the technology. Currently, most of the companies feel like this mammoth, because they were and they are still alive, but they see the disruption coming from this scarcity to abundance business models, and they have to evolve. There is a model called exponential organization, where we see organizations that are able to connect with abundance properly and to manage it in a way that they are able to scale in an exponential way. So we have examples such as Airbnb, that currently is the biggest hotel chain in the world. Why? Well, because they are accessing to this abundance of hotels, not hotels, an abundance of places to stay, an abundance of rooms, and they connect with this abundance of rooms, and they manage it in a way that they were able to grow so much only in a few years. Google is connecting with an abundance of information. Netflix is connected with an abundance of content. Uber is connecting with an abundance of drivers, and so on, right? So a few years ago, Salim Ismail, who is actually the main author of Exponential Organizations, and myself founded EXO Works, a company, and we started to develop and to work on different methodologies and tools in order to apply the exponential organization model. The first thing was the EXO Canvas. The EXO Canvas allows any company to think in an exponential way, but overall, the EXO Canvas is focused on helping companies and organizations to connect with abundance and to manage it in an exponential way. You don't even need to be exponential. At the end, you just need to connect with abundance and also to manage it in order to stay relevant in the current world. The EXO Sprint was another methodology that I created mainly in order to transform companies. So we have these traditional business models, and we transform these companies in abundance connected business model, right? And we wrote a new book that is called Exponential Transformation, when we basically open source the EXO Sprint for anyone to be able to run this methodology at their company. But something was still missing. We were still missing something, because we are not just corporates trying to transform the world or trying to transform ourselves. It's not only about companies. This is actually about people. We are people, and each of us is very different, right? Each of us is different, and we all dream, right? But we are not only dreamers. As I was saying before, humans in general look at the stars, right? We look at the stars. We love to dream. We love to dream about things that we don't have, and we like to fill these gaps, right? And again, we are not just dreamers, we are actually doers. We do things, right? So we do things, and we have to do things, because if we don't do things, things doesn't happen, right? So we are doers with a purpose, because nowadays, and all of you are quite aware of that, I'm pretty sure, is the age of purpose. And the purpose is not here to leave us, right? The purpose is here forever, because the purpose is something that is guiding us in our lives, in our projects, and not only in a personal way, it's also guiding us in a corporate way or in a startup way. I mean, the purpose is the North Star, is the star that we look at. And this is why Angel Maria Herrera and myself wrote a new book that is called Massive Transformative Purpose, that is actually a guide for people and also for companies that help us and help all of us to define or to discover our purpose, or even to improve it if we have already one, right? The Massive Transformative Purpose book, by the way, I just have to say that it was only in Spanish, but in a few days, actually, it's going to be in English and also in French. Because the Massive Transformative Purpose is the reason why we all are here. Not only we as people, but also our projects. We all are doing things for one reason, right? And the Massive Transformative Purpose is that reason. In Spain, I don't know in other countries, but I used to hear something very interesting when I was a children, and still, right, when I was very young, that people used to tell me, if you are healthy, you have money, and you have love, you are happy, you have everything, So health, money, and love should be enough. But this is not true. Actually, this is not true, because you are not all the day like enjoying your body or your health. This is, of course, something super important, and nowadays even more with the COVID. You are not only focused on on making money, and you're not going to be spending and using your money every day. You are not all the day connected and around the people that you love, right? Even though you have to love everyone by default, but this is not enough. In the daily basis, you spend so much time, so many minutes, so many hours doing so many things, that if you don't feel something aligned with you, if you don't feel that those things are aligned with you, you are going to feel empty at some point, right? So we all need this purpose, which is the guiding star for all of us to make a difference. So Purpose Launchpad is actually that. Is a meta methodology, as we will see, and actually more than a methodology, is a mindset. I don't even like to say a methodology anymore. It's a mindset to make a massive impact. This is what we did. Personally, I have been working with around this since 2012, but evolving it a lot, right? And it was launched in July 1st this year with a lot of contributors that actually provide a lot of input at the end of the process to the methodology. Purpose Launchpad is focused on generating and evolving early stage ideas into purpose-driven organizations to make a massive impact. We all can have ideas. Ideas are great, but we need to evolve them, right? And it's about evolving them. It's not even about accelerating, scaling, not. Before anything else, what we have to do is evolving them. Because there are three phases in the Purpose Launchpad methodology, and this is one of the most important points of this masterclass. By the way, we are going to see after this an example, right, about how to apply Purpose Launchpad to an example. So there are three phases. The first one is exploration. We need to explore. When we have a new idea, we have to look around. We don't even know the map, right? We need to get familiar with our environment. We need to observe, we need to explore, and to see different options to achieve this purpose, right? So we have a purpose, but we need to look around. And at the very beginning, we don't even know what we don't know. That's the reality. After running some experiments and knowing a little bit different options and maybe picking one of them, we are going to evaluate it. Sometimes we say let's evaluate our business model, let's evaluate our customers, let's evaluate our team. It's not about sorry, some people say let's validate, right? Sorry, some people say let's validate our business model, let's validate our customers, let's validate our team. It's not about validating. We could validate or invalidate things, and both things are fine, because the important thing is to know the truth, right? So we say that we evaluate things. And at this point, we are going to start building things, because at the very beginning with exploration, we don't have to, or we shouldn't build anything, because building something is expensive. Building a full team, building a product, we shouldn't do that, right? In the evaluation, once we have observed and run a few, very easy and soft experiments, we start building things such as an MVP, a minimum viable product. And we start evaluating things with early adopters, evaluating our team, evaluating the way that we connect with abundance, evaluating the processes. We have to evaluate so many things. And once we are in a place where we think that we have found something and we have actually validated it, so it's not only an idea, we go into the impact phase. Here we are going to start growing. We are going to start making things efficient, and we are going to start trying to scale our organization and overall our impact. The important point here is that Purpose Launchpad, as I was saying before, is a mindset, but more than one mindset is actually three mindsets, because we have to think in a completely different way if we are in the exploration phase, or we are in the evaluation phase, or if we are in the impact phase. So it's very different. So we have to think in three different ways. And this is one of the most important contributions of the Purpose Launchpad methodology. We have to know where we are. If we know where we are, we will act and we will think and we will operate in a completely different way. We are explorers, we are evaluating things, or we are trying to make an impact to our projects. And at the same time, as I was saying, Purpose Launchpad combines the state of the art of innovation, combines all the different methodologies and tools that you could actually imagine. And if there is something else coming, you can actually plug into Purpose Launchpad in a very easy way, because there are 8 axes, what we call the axis of Purpose Launchpad. There is the purpose, the people, the customer, the abundance, the viability, the processes, the product, and the metrics. And these 8 axes are the key in order to evolve our projects toward having a huge impact. Let me tell you a little bit about the different axes, although I'm not going to go deep into them because there are so many different tools, techniques, and things that we could put into the axis. Although let me also tell you, this is not about the tools. At the end of the day, it's not about running a design thinking process in the perfect way. No, it's about evolving the different axes in the right way, using what we need to use about the tools. Sometimes we are going to be using those tools in a very deep way. Sometimes we are not going to be using these tools in a super deep way. So for the purpose, we have the MTP canvas that allow us as people and also organizations to define our purpose. There is another tool that is called the MV sheet, where we are going to define the moonshot. That is the way to make our purpose true in a quantified way. The vision, the mission, and the values, all of those things are very important. Also the people, and in the people we have several aspects. One part of the people's side is the team, our own team, the internal people, and we will be running different assessments and different tools in order to evaluate our teams, to align our team. There is a tool that works very well that is called the Team Canvas. And also the community. We have to look outside. We have to start engaging with communities around our purpose in order to discover what the world needs around our purpose, to discover problems, to discover solutions, and so on. So the community canvas is going to be very important here. And also the customer, as we were saying before building a product, we need to build a customer. So the customer development process, the value proposition canvas, empathy maps, the design thinking. Design thinking is something that we use a lot between the people and the customer axis, although we use design thinking in many other places. Crossing the chasm, this is super important for startups because this is the main reason, or one of the main reasons why startups go and fail, right? At the very beginning, it's easy to sell a little bit to early adopters, to innovators, but jumping into the early majority is not that easy. The EXO canvas, that is focused on connecting with abundance. Sometimes it's focused on helping us to create some exponential organization, but not everything, not always, right? Just connecting with abundance and managing abundance is super important because not everyone wants to create an exponential organization. Not everyone wants to create the next Uber, the next Airbnb. Just having a purpose-driven organization connected to the abundance is super powerful. In viability, we are defining our business model, our key hypothesis to make our revenues true. Or if we are a not-for-profit organization, just to be sustainable is also super important. Also, how to manage cash flow is key. How to manage cash flow and how to combine that with the crossing the chasm and with the rest of the things, because here in Purpose Launchpad, everything is super connected. In processes, we are going to have processes around agility, because at the very beginning, we need to be very agile. And little by little, we'll start moving towards more focus, processes focused on execution, but keeping the learning. So we see here agile techniques. There are frameworks such as Scrum, right? But Scrum is the result of the agile principles. So we have here so many things to talk about processes, and we'll see that around in the example. We also have the product. At the very beginning, we don't even need to have a product, right? We need to have an MVP. And at the very beginning, in the exploration phase, not even an MVP. And in the exploration phase, we will put together low fidelity prototypes that are not going to be used by clients, but at least will help us to learn. So depending on the phase, we are going to be applying one technique or another technique for the product. And in the metrics, we have innovation accounting, among other approaches. We can see here different type of metrics, value metrics, to discover whether we are providing value to clients or not. Also growth metrics in order to scale and to improve our sales, right? Through, for example, analyzing and building a sales funnel, and based on the sales funnels, basically being able to optimize that in order to grow. Right? So there are so many things, but what I was saying before, and I want to make here a very important example, is that we're going to be thinking around all these different axes in a completely different way, depending we are in the exploration phase, we are in the evaluation phase, or whether we are in the growth phase. So let me put here an example for the metrics, right? So in the metrics, as I said, we're going to think in a different way, whether we are in the exploration phase, in the evaluation phase, or in the growth phase. And this is going to be applied for the rest of the axis. In the case of the metrics, when we are in the discovery phase, we don't even need metrics, quantitative metrics. Sorry, we do need metrics, but qualitative metrics, meaning that we are going to be talking to people. We are going to be capturing insights. We are going to be learning from people, but having a quantitative metric is maybe not the right thing to do, because at the very beginning, we don't know what we don't know. By the way, I just realized that there is a mistake in this slide, because we have here the old names of the phases. The discovery is actually the exploration, the validation is actually the evaluation, as I was saying, and the growth is actually the impact phase, right? So at the very beginning, in the exploration phase, we don't even know what we don't know. So it's going to be about learning from people, from the communities. It's going to be qualitative metrics. In the evaluation, we'll start capturing and defining hypotheses and capturing metrics and tracking these metrics, but we have to focus on value-oriented metrics. It's not about growing. Why growing something if we don't have the product market fit yet, right? We have to achieve product market fit yet and later start growing. But there is a very typical mistake of entrepreneurs, startups in general, trying to grow from the very beginning, right? Without having validated the product market fit and the value proposition. So first we have to improve our value, and later we'll focus on the growth metrics. So in the impact phase, in the last phase, we are going to be focusing on growth metrics, also metrics around efficiency, improvement and optimizing everything, but at the very beginning, no. So this is just an example of how we apply the different mindsets, the different phases to the different axes, and this is the metric axis. So at the end, we have this axis, and something very important that we do always is assessing our project. And assessing a project is not a matter of one number, right? There are assessments out there that give you one number. One number is not going to tell you anything at the very beginning. It's about knowing where you are. And we have a concept called the Purpose Launchpad Radar. The Purpose Launchpad Radar is this graph that you can see here, where you will see where you are in terms of the Purpose Launchpad methodology and approach, right? So you will see how you are doing in terms of purpose, people, customer, and the rest of them. And the way to evolve a project is actually consolidating levels. So in this case, we can see here that there are a few variables, axes, that are still below the exploration phase, because we are here, right, in the yellow. Later we'll go to the blue, which is the evaluation, and at the end we'll go to the growth or to the impact phase, which is the purple, right? Here we are in the exploration phase still, so we need to consolidate these phase before start thinking the evaluation. So this project, without knowing anything else about the project, I can see that is in the exploration phase, and we should work a little bit about people, communities, a little bit about abundance, because it's still not clear about how to connect with abundance, improving the metrics for qualitative metrics, and also defining a little bit better the product without building it, because again, we are in the exploration phase. Okay, so at the end of the day, what we are going to be doing is running sprints and running weekly or bi-weekly sprints. And by doing that, we are going to be evolving all the different axes, and we'll go from the exploration phase, which is more an idea phase, into an impact phase in order to really make a massive impact and to grow. And little by little, we'll go through all these different phases. There is a toolkit. I mean, Purpose Launchpad, again, it's not only a methodology, there is a toolkit, there are so many things, but overall it's a mindset. But here, you can see a few things. There is a guide. Purpose Launchpad is an open source methodology, so you can go to the website and download the guide. You can do that right now. There is an assessment in the Purpose Launchpad website. You also can access the assessment and you can evaluate where your project is. There is a repository, this is mainly for Purpose Launchpad mentors, but basically it's a tool that is telling you or suggesting you what things to do depending on the phase that you are and for each of the different axes. So it's like a knowledge base to provide you guidance about how to evolve your project. And there is also a board, and the board is going to be helping us to see and to understand how to grow well, not how to grow, how to evolve our initiative from exploration to evaluation and to impact phase. And here we will be able to track things such as the mood of the project and several things. But at the end, there is something that is super important, because some people don't like methods, and that's fine. I respect that. But so Purpose Launchpad can be applied at a method level, but also can be applied as a principle levels. There is 8 different principles. That is the core, is the essence of the Purpose Launchpad. For example, purpose is over problem and problem over solutions. Or exploration is very important. Is key to explore more than to optimize things. And even though we are trying to grow, to optimize, to take things to a different level, exploration is still super important. And if we look something or we find something new, we might need to change the whole thing, even though we are in the exploration phase, right? But talking about the principles is very easy. The important thing and the only way to really capture and digest the principles is by living them, by living real situations. So we'll see that later. So everything is open source. You can go to purposelaunchpad.com, you can download the guide, you can do the assessment, and you can basically run the methodology from here. As I said, it's not a methodology, actually. I would say that if we want to call it a methodology, I would say that it's 3 methodologies in one, because there are 3 different stages, right? But it's not a methodology, it's a mindset. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of seeing the world. It's a way of understanding not only purpose and businesses and organizations, but also a way to understand how to build those organizations and how to evolve those organizations. We all are explorers. Humans are explorers as a species, right? And we have to become and to understand that we are explorers. And saying is very easy, but doing it is not that easy. It's easy, actually. It's just a way of really understanding what this is about. And people really get it when they go through the Purpose Launchpad methodology. Purpose Launchpad is focused on making a massive impact, regardless of we are building an exponential organization or a small and local organization. But when we have a purpose, eventually, because reactions, we do a massive impact. And last, what I'm going to share with all of you, and of course we'll have some time for Q&A, I hope, is a case study. I'm going to show here a case study. In a few weeks, we'll be running a new masterclass, and I will be bringing real case studies. I didn't have time. Although Purpose Launchpad has been applying now to hundreds of companies, but we'll be bringing here like real case study. This is not real in the sense that there is not a real entrepreneur behind it, but it's actually in defining very real situations that happen every day. I'm pretty sure that you will be seeing real companies that based on this case study. So Let me tell you a little bit about this case study. I mean, the company itself, and after seeing the company and understanding a little bit of what is behind this case study, we'll apply Purpose Launchpad and we'll see how to evolve it. Okay. So Purpose Launchpad, this project is called Extraordinary People. And in this project, there are three founders: Carlos, who is the CEO, Carol, who is the developer, and Peter, who is the UX and the UI, right? They have an MTP, which is everyone can be extraordinary. They do think that every person can be extraordinary. And they have a moonshot, which is helping 1 million people to get funds in order to launch a purpose-driven initiative. Okay, this is the moonshot. This is the way to make the purpose true. They have a vision, they have a mission, they have a values. They were connected with communities from the very beginning. They did things properly. They started to talk to people, to do customer discovery interviews, to run even before building the product. They started to talk to people. So they did the homework. By talking to people and running design thinking processes or approaches, they basically found a key problem that they wanted to solve, which is that there are people who don't have opportunities. There are people who are poor people from the point of money, but also they don't have opportunities. And on the other hand, they saw that there are people who are willing to invest in these people, and they could build a platform to connect people with no opportunities with people who have some money, not a lot of money, but at least they have money and they have the intention to invest in these people, right? So at the end, they build something and they are connecting now people with no opportunities with people who have opportunities in order to make a massive impact. They define the EXO canvas in order to connect with abundance, as I was saying before. For those of you who don't know, EXO canvas is a way to connect and to manage abundance and eventually become an exponential organization if we want, but at least to connect with abundance. They want, in this case, they want to create an exponential organization. So they did that. They also define the business model, and the business model is based on they bring entrepreneurs, people with no resources who want to build a business, and they connect them with purpose-driven investors. And when the investors invest in them, they get a small fee. They get a 1% of the investment and also 1% of equity. So they have a short-term revenue and a long-term value for the business model. Very interesting. And they are trying to do things in the best way possible. I mean, Peter is focused on UX. So Peter goes, talk to users, he drafts wireframes, he iterates those wireframes, he try to find the best and the perfect screen for each of these users, right? And once Peter is super clear, right, and working a lot and long time with these users, he provides these wireframes to Carol, and Carol develops those using an agile approach, right? They have defined key metrics, and they have defined the cost per acquisition, which is 1,000, and the lifetime value, which is 500. So they are losing money now, right? Because the money that they are keeping from clients, from investors, is 500 as an average. And they have this cost per acquisition of 1,000, right? So they have metrics, they are measuring things, but they are losing money. Actually, the cash flow is going down. They are in a trouble now because they need to change things in one way or another. So they come to us, and we say, okay, let's run a first purpose launchpad sprint. Let's see what happened here. The first thing that we do is running the assessment. And by running the assessment, we realize that we are in the exploration phase. Why? Because these red circles show us that they are doing well in most of the variables. I mean, they are in the evaluation phase in most of them, but in the processes and in the metrics, they are not. They are not, right? They are not. Why? First, in the processes, which is very poor processes, because they are trying to optimize things. They are, running a heavy UX process, spending a lot of time with the UX until the things go to the developers. So they are not agile enough. They are spending a lot of time doing things. So the processes are not good processes. They are not agile. They are not quick to do changes, right? Also, in the metrics, they used to talk to people, but now they are not talking to people anymore. They are just based on the growth metrics that they are measuring, right? So the feedback to them, the quick feedback that we could provide to them is that they are running the growth processes in this phase because they are running very heavy processes and they are in the exploration phase still, right? So they should do more agile processes and more quick processes. We'll see how to do that later. Also, they are tracking the growth metrics because they are tracking growth metrics, and they are not tracking, and they are not talking to people. They are not even tracking the value of their product. So they don't know if their product is is valuable for people or not, right? So in the backlog, because Purpose Launchpad works in an agile way, so we have a Purpose Launchpad backlog that is done every week or every second week. So in the backlog, we are going to suggest to them to do things, two things, to simplify processes, and we'll see how to do that later, and also to start tracking qualitative metrics and value type metrics, okay? So in simplification processes, we're going to forget this thing that they had because it's very heavy. This is taking a lot of time. But let me tell you, most of the startups hire an UX guy at the very beginning, right? They try to do things in the best way, but the best way is not to optimize, because now we are in the exploration phase. The best way will be optimizing when we are in the impact phase, right? So this is not the right process. The right process is all of the team connected to users, the developer connected to user directly, right? And Peter, who is the US guy, he can run customer development interviews. And Carlos, who is the CEO, he can run customer development interviews. And combining the customer development with the agile approach, right? So Carol, who can run also customer development interviews and connect it directly with users, can do all the changes very, very quick. At some point, we are going to throw away the product because it's just an MVP. So we just need to iterate it very, very well and not to do the best way possible. This is about the processes. So in this way, we'll achieve much more speed, right? In this way, we'll start moving ahead much faster. Oops, sorry. Now I stop sharing. And in terms of the metrics, they are again tracking the wrong metrics because they are not in the impact phase. They are not growing. They shouldn't grow because they don't have something that customers are loving it. Customers still don't love what they have, right? So they should forget about these metrics and they should start talking again to customers. This is something that they cannot stop doing it. And they should start tracking a value-oriented metric such as the NPS that will tell them whether they are doing fine or not regarding their customers, right? So the results, right, is that after running several or some sprints, right, after start talking to customers, they are going to realize how to improve the value, right? And also they will know how to measure the value, right? So eventually they are going to improve a little bit the cash flow, not a lot. They are still not profitable, but they have more runway. They have more cash in the bank now because they are not burning so much every day. So the result is also that the NPS in early adopters is going from 10% to 65%. 65% is amazing, actually, for early adopters. So by talking to them, they realize what they have to do, right? It's not the metric, it's not the number, it's talking to real people. So after some sprints in the evaluation mode, because they are now in the evaluation mode working with early adopters, right? We run again the radar. Actually, in a proper Launchpad process, we would be running the radar every day. Every week or every second week, right? Let's say that we have run now 6-7 different sprints, and now we run the radar again. And now we are in the impact phase. We are in the impact phase because we kept iterating the product for early adopters. We got very happy early adopters and paying early adopters, which are very, very important, right? And at that point, we are still not profitable, as we saw, but we are in the impact phase. After running the assessment again, we see that the customer is there, but it's still not, there is something missing. And what is missing here is basically that they are stuck with early adopters, as most of the startups, right? So they have to run a strategy to cross the chasm. They have to do that, right? And in order to do that, we are going to follow something that we see very deep in the Purpose Launchpad programs. They are going to define a cross the chasm strategy, defining who is the right early majority, because now we have to jump from the early adopters to the early majority, how we are going to do that and what we will be doing that. So after, working on that and running some experiments, we found an early adopter majority, which are young professionals passionate about impact investments. And we can target them and we can offer them and we can talk their language. And by doing that, eventually we start growing in the early majority case. And by growing in the early majority, we start becoming profitable, right? Because we cross the chasm. We are not only working for a few, we are crossing the chasm. But it's not about the numbers. It's that at the end, we are able to help 1 million people to get funds from investors. And this is making our purpose true. This is our moonshot, and we did, and we achieved our moonshot, right? But more than the project, more than the numbers, at the end of the day, it's about the mindset evolution. These entrepreneurs will learn that it's very important to explore more than optimize. So it's about exploration over optimization, which is one of the Purpose Launchpad principles. It's about qualitative metrics over quantitative metrics. It's about learning over building. It's about abundance over scarcity. So this is, again, just a case study just for you to feel the essence of Purpose Launchpad. But Purpose Launchpad is actually generating out of the community something else. It's generating an ecosystem. We are building new things, and we are going to be announcing a few things very quickly, because again, we are going to have a very quick Q&A here. But let me tell you what is happening now. So Purpose Launchpad actually is the methodology, but now we have the very first Purpose Launchpad certified mentors. I'm very happy to announce them. We have first edition who were graduated a few days ago, and we have Crystal, Sanjay, Edwin, Suman, James, Crystal, Eric, and Vittorio in the English edition. And in the Spanish, although they also talk English, we have Paola, Felipe, Joaquin, Jose Tan, Pepe Tan, Luis, Paco, Carolina, and Francisco. I'm super happy of them. I have been working with all of them during almost four months. Some of them are here. I have been running a very intensive process. All of them can tell you. I have been working with them through almost 4 months, 36 sessions in a super personalized way. And I have to say that I'm super happy and proud, all of them. And if I have any project, I'm happy for them to mentor them, because I know that they will be doing an amazing job. But this is what I wanted to achieve, right? Super quality mentors. And we have a first cohort of Purpose Launchpad mentors, and a second one is about to come, because I'm now running the second one and actually finishing it. We have also Purpose Alliance. Purpose Alliance is a community of doers. First of all, we launched a purpose challenge in order to help with the COVID, and we generated so many solutions all around the world. After that, we have been running more than 30 challenges all around the world, and in these challenges, people create things, and we use Purpose Launchpad as the base methodology. Only a very little of Purpose Launchpad, but it's Purpose Launchpad, right? So we have this community of amazing doers, Purpose Alliance. And in the COVID challenge, we had so many projects. In the purpose of in the challenge of future of education, which is the last one that we ran, we had more than 1,000 people applying, more than 30 startups working here, and it was really amazing to see everything. And in Purpose Alliance, we are offering certifications around Purpose Launchpad and others to help people to go to the next level. But the last piece that is actually new, and I'm going to be announcing it here, is what is called Purpose Evolver. Purpose Evolves is a way to evolve projects, to evolve startups. We are taking the startups and the ideas coming from the projects, and we are actually evolving them. And we are doing that with our amazing, extraordinary network of Purpose Launchpad mentors. Only them. They are coming as staff on demand, and they're evolving them. It's like an accelerator, in other words, but we don't like the word of accelerating projects, because at the very beginning, you cannot accelerate something before achieving the product market fit and being in the impact phase. So we are a Purpose Evolver, and we have here a very interesting model in terms of equity and revenue share for mentors. So this is the ecosystem that we are creating. This is Purpose Launchpad, which is going way beyond a methodology. It's a mindset, it's a community, and it's something that is actually empowering extraordinary people to create the future. What to do next? Depending on what first, what you have to do, or what you could do, is actually going to the Purpose Launchpad website and to download the methodology, right? But depending, do you need help to make an impact, or do you want to mentor others to make an impact, right? Or maybe both. So if you need help, what I would recommend is going to Purpose Launchpad website and ask for a mentor there. We have now 16 amazing mentors, amazing, extraordinary mentors who will be helping you towards the process. And again, we have another class that is about to happen. I see here Paolo, for example, from the second cohort. So we have people in English, in Spanish, Paolo in Italian as well, who will be helping all of you to evolve your project. So you can go here to Purpose Launchpad and to ask for one of these extraordinary mentors if you need help. If you want to become a mentor and to help others, or even to help your own initiative as an entrepreneur, because in the mentor program, we have had people who are investors, who are consultants, who are mentors, who are entrepreneurs. We have a little bit of everything. There is a third edition happening. The third edition is going to happen, is going to start in February 15. We have actually for this one even sold out, but we are now in the phase of getting applicants and trying to find and to pick the best ones. So we are going to be picking the best people for the third edition. I have been running 2 cohorts in the last quarter. I'm going to run less now. I'm going to run one cohort in Q1, another in Q2, another in Q3. So I'm going to run less because it was just too much, and I was super involved with the team and with the cohort, as everyone know here, and they can tell you. But this is the one that you can apply now. You can go to Purpose Alliance website or here with this QR code. I will put the website later as well. So this is Purpose Launchpad. Let me just play a final video just to summarize everything, and we'll get some questions and discussions if you have anything to ask. So let me just close with this video.
Purpose Launchpad is an open methodology to help innovators and entrepreneurs to create a massive impact. We live in one of the most extraordinary times in human history, with the emergence of technologies such as the internet, 3D printing, artificial intelligence, clean energies. Never before in history have we as people had so much power in the palm of our hands. Yet at the same time, there are so many global challenges that are threatening the well-being of our humanity. The sustainability of our planet and even our own existence is at risk. The good news is that we all can create a positive impact. We are all in this world to create something that did not exist before we were born. We all have a purpose, and the technological possibilities allow us to solve all these global challenges. In fact, the main challenges of humanity are, at the same time, the best business opportunities that exist. But innovation is risky. As Steve Blank said, there is no business plan that survives the first contact with clients. Fortunately, in recent years, numerous innovation methodologies have emerged to help us to avoid failure and generate more value. Design thinking, customer development, lean startup, exponential organizations, agility, MTP Canvas. Purpose Launchpad is an open meta methodology that combines the state-of-the-art of innovation techniques to generate and evolve ideas in purpose-driven organizations. Purpose Launchpad was created by Francisco Palau. More than 150 people from all over the world contributed to the process, and today they are certified mentors who support entrepreneurs and corporations to evolve their projects to create a massive impact. At the beginning, we are explorers. We don't even know what we don't know. Purpose Launchpad helps us to orientate ourselves in our impact expedition using 8 main axes: purpose, people, customers, abundance, viability, processes, product, and metrics. With the Purpose Launchpad radar, we can know where we are and walk the path, using an agile approach based on sprints, which will eventually allow us to achieve our purpose, to reach the stars. And most importantly, Purpose Launchpad doesn't only help us to evolve our projects, but also ourselves. The key to making an impact is not the technology, nor even the methodology, it's the mindset. Purpose Launchpad is a way of thinking, a way of seeing the world. Because only those who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do it. Purpose Launchpad, empowering extraordinary people to create the future.